time on Godzilla vs. the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. You saw Godzilla lay the smackdown on the legendary Dragonzord and the Green Ranger. Now, in issue 2 of the new series, Godzilla will take on the Rangers and the iconic MegaZord, with the story being brought to you by writer Cullen Bunn, and the art by Freddie Williams II, along with the help of a skilled team. This next issue in this epic collaboration shows us what happens when an unstoppable force meets an immovable object. The synopsis for issue 2 reads, Godzilla battles the MegaZord, and no matter who wins, the world will be at great peril from the combined threat of the Exilian invaders and Rita Repulsa. Remember to stomp the subscribe button if you want more of this series on the channel, and let's get to it. Last we saw, the Power Rangers had just come face to face with the King of the Monsters. The Gman had just defeated the Dragonzord, and was now ready for its next opponent. The Rangers are quick to notice that Godzilla is more powerful than anything they had ever fought prior to coming to Godzilla's universe, pointing out how Godzilla's atomic fire was easily eating through their Zord's shielding systems. Their only way of standing a chance against Godzilla was to end the fight fast, so the Rangers were the first to strike. The Zords quickly morph into the MegaZord and throw a massive haymaker at Godzilla, but the G-Man catches the Zord's fist in one hand and bites down hard with his powerful jaws. Then Godzilla unleashes a massive atomic blast, but the Rangers are quick to activate the Mastodon shield, which blocks the beam. They notice it must have taken some juice out of Godzilla to fire that blast, so they quickly jump to action and delivered an uppercut right to Godzilla's jaw. Godzilla retaliates, swinging his massive tail like a bat directly toward the MegaZord. But the Rangers were also unfazed. However, they knew playing on the defensive the entire fight would eventually lead to their luck running out. So they switched tactics and went on the offensive. This is when they summoned the infamous weapon of the MegaZord, the Power Sword. The blade raced to the MegaZord's hand, and the fight had once again taken another dramatic turn. The Rangers then make some remarks about Godzilla that would be enough to run them off any Gojira fan page on the internet. Godzilla retaliates with an epic one-liner of his own. The Rangers dash towards the King of the Monsters, prepared to give it everything they had to win the fight. And that is exactly what they did. Sacrificing the MegaZord to a direct atomic blast, the Rangers were able to drive the Power Sword through Godzilla's thick hide and deep into his chest. The MegaZord was nearly destroyed and out of power, and Godzilla crashed to the ground with a mighty boom. Rita and the Exilians then send an attack force to kick both of them while they were down, sending laser strikes at both the Zord and the G-Man. The MegaZord, unable to fight back, gets drilled by the ships, but Godzilla, with blue blood dripping from his wounded mouth, managed to still swat one ship with his tail, pick himself off the ground, and then proceed to walk away and dive back into the water. His fight for the moment was done. He needed time to heal from his injuries, but in due time, he would be ready for the next enemy. Alright residents, welcome back to the real world. So if you didn't already know, Jacob here, hope you're all having a good day, and I'm gonna go ahead and give my thoughts on issue 2 of Godzilla vs. the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Now I left out a big chunk of this issue for a couple of reasons. First of all, if you're interested in this story, go by and, support the artist who created this thing, because if you do that, we might have a chance of getting more little collaborations like this, so getting your own copy is always recommended. But a lot of the rest of this issue was really just focused on Rita, her goons, the Green Ranger, and the Exilians, and really just wasn't ideal for a video, especially not one based on the topic of Godzilla and the MegaZord fighting. And I really feel like you'll have your best experience with that part of the story reading it straight from the comic. But let's get into what I think was really good about issue 2. The art and writing is once again colorful and captures the goofy spirit of both Godzilla and the Power Rangers, but does enough to still keep the series from becoming a big joke. Everyone knows that the Power Rangers in that era of Godzilla films were a bit cheesy, and we can play on that, but they do a real good job of not forcing too much just, over-the-top cheese into this story, and I really appreciate that. But they do keep what was really special about the Power Rangers in this series, specifically the Ranger banter. Where they always go back and forth with their quick little one-liners that you see in the series. They capture that quite well in this series, and when I'm reading it, I can actually play it and I imagine the music from the old Power Rangers show and how they always talk to each other all like eccentrically. They're like, "Whoa, do this, yeah!" And that's really cool coming across in a comic. And at the end of the story, we got to see Godzilla being stabbed, which is super rare and takes a lot of balls to show. A lot of Godzilla fans can't stand the thought of the big G-Man being injured, so when they show him losing like this, or kind of losing, he definitely had to fall back. That's them showing that they're not afraid to piss off a lot of Goji fans. But don't let that steer you away if you're one of those people, because obviously, Godzilla's coming back to kick more ass. He ain't done. He survived that, and that's incredible. I also really love seeing the blue blood from the G-Man. Kind of a neat take and different from the usual red typical basic blood that, everyone has for the most part, so it kind of added a cool little extra bonus feel to this new version of Godzilla. But not everything about this issue was a total thumbs up. The fight between the Megazord and Godzilla really didn't have enough to it. They pretty much just attacked each other like 2 or 3 times and then it was over with. But they spread it throughout the whole comic to make it seem like it was much larger of a fight, but I would have liked to have seen more. This is a pretty iconic matchup, and that first fight with the Dragon Zord kind of set the bar high, so this fight didn't quite live up to what I wanted it to be, but like I said earlier, I really loved seeing Godzilla get stabbed and all the blood coming out, and him actually surviving that was cool. Now, if you've watched some of my prior comic book videos, you know that I have a hard time reading comics that have a ton of dialogue. When I'm looking at the page and I see like 30 little word bubbles from all the different characters, it becomes kind of just a cluster, you know what? And I have a hard time, following everything there, but that is just a personal preference of mine. I'm sure a ton of you love reading these sort of speech bubbles, but to me, I like my comics simple. Now, I blame a little bit of this on the fact that they were trying really hard to have that upbeat Power Rangers style of dialogue come off on the page. So I can see how that might have been a struggle to really incorporate. And while I personally don't really have an issue with this next point here, I did see how a lot of viewers from the first video on issue 1 thought that the art style was a bit over-stylized regarding the humans in this series. Now, I like it when the male characters look super jacked and muscular, and I like when the women characters, well, look like women. So it doesn't bother me, but apparently a lot of other people would have preferred a different style of humans. The monsters, the Zords, the scenery, all the colors is still very nice though, I think. So in closing, for less than the price of a coffee, this issue is definitely worth your time and money. I'm pretty sure you can go on Amazon and get it for like $2, $3, so yeah, like I said, what are you waiting for? Go support this cool series. Whether you like Power Rangers or not, if you're a fan of Godzilla, I definitely think it's, worth being part of your collection. Like I said, it's super cheap, so anyway, everyone, I hope you enjoyed this comic video. If you want to see the next issue, issue 3, or at least a video from that issue, you know what to do. Comment down below, let me know, like this video, and share it around. Thank you all for coming to Dangerville, and as always, I will see you in the next one.